My boy, Subaru, I was complimenting you, okay? I was complimenting you last week. You were doing some 10 out of 10 planning skills. You were accomplishing things politically. You were being able to move everything into the correct motion to where you could accomplish your goal of saving everybody. But then I see this episode, and my boy, you're an otaku. You're a NEET, okay? You're a boy that plays games. You're from a world, and you even said you played a lot of games and stuff, okay? And you're telling me you bring one fucking healer, and then one DPS, like Big D. Yo, my boy, Subaru. Wait, we gotta have a talk, okay? We gotta have a talk. As a person that plays World of Warcraft, okay, and I am really looking forward to playing the Demon Hunter that's coming out very soon in World of Warcraft Legion, okay? Seeing your plays, okay, in this entire raid against the White Well, I was annoyed. My boy, you bring a fucking healer, okay? You bring a healer that has target heal. This healer has to target someone and heal them. This ain't even an AoE heal. This person can't even probably do a Brez. I'm like, yo, our man Wilhelm, he's dead as fuck. He probably doesn't have a Brez on him or anything like that. There's no battle resurrection probably. So I'm like, fuck. Like, Subaru, you don't bring one DPS like Wilhelm that is kicking ass, destroying everything, and he's aggroing the fuck out of it, and then you have one healer that can only heal one person at a time. That's just asking to get wiped, okay? You're asking to get wiped when the boss shifts over into new phases. I mean, that's common sense, my boy. That's common sense, okay? I mean, I guess this is why you don't really do LFG in freaking WoW, because, I mean, looking for group usually pairs you up with some very shitty and horrible players that really don't know how to do their role, and I guess you can kind of consider this an LFG. I mean, Subaru was just getting a bunch of random people together he doesn't even know, might as well just say it's LFG, and then these people don't even know how to do the role. They don't know how to aggro properly, they don't know how to heal properly. Poor Wilhelm, he's having to make up for the entire damn army's DPS. I mean, we could say Cruz, she's also doing a very good job with some DPS, range DPS, but I mean, it's still the point. My boy Wilhelm, he's trying to be the tank, he's trying to be the DPS, and this man's not getting any fucking heals in the middle of combat. I feel so bad for this man. I feel so bad. Okay, enough with that, okay? My inner gamer came out. It just seeing the plays I saw in this, I'm like, this is some plays, alright. This is some plays that I would probably just leave the dungeon group. I would straight up leave the dungeon group if I saw some plays like this. I'm not even joking. If I was playing a fucking dungeon in World of Warcraft and I saw my team doing some of the shit they did in this, I'm like, nope. I mean, look, okay, Subaru already did the Leroy Jenkins, ran straight into the middle of the battle, trying to be like a decoy target or whatever, getting everybody aggroed onto him, and he was doing kind of a good job. I mean, he was, but then he kind of lost his point because he became, you know, unaggroed. Wells focused on everybody else to DPS, Wilhelm, and then, yeah, it all went fucking south at the end of the episode. So, enough of that. Enough gamer talk. I know many of you probably don't play World of Warcraft and all that, and you probably don't know what the fuck LFG is, which is looking for group. A Brez means battle resurrection. Target heal means you have to target a single person to heal them. It's not an AoE area of effectability. For instance, an AoE effectability, you know, can heal multiple people at once. You get my point. So, just seeing some of the tactics in this, I'm like, it brought out my inner gamer, and I'm like, damn it, dude. Like, the boss just went straight from being, like, a normal difficulty boss to, like, a heroic dungeon boss or a mythic level boss because of seeing it split up into multiple different wells. I'm like, damn it, my boy. Like, how are you supposed to fight something like that when you already have a LFG group that doesn't even know how to do the roles properly? You're not going to stand a chance. You're not going to stand a chance against a well that splits up into multiple other different beings, or if there's other ones entirely. I have no idea what the fuck is going on, but just still, the point is, okay, and seeing a bunch of these wells popping up, that pretty much says everybody might get wiped. I just gotta say that right now. Because, I mean, with the entirety of what happened in this episode, with Wilhelm having many death flags on him, I mean, this man was charging in. He was, oh my god, this man was a badass. Like, you know what? Let me get into that, okay? Wilhelm, as a character, he was a character that I knew you shouldn't underestimate, because he's an old man, and as always, when it comes to anime, manga, and stuff, you don't underestimate the old people. You just don't. You don't underestimate the old folk in anime and manga. I've seen enough anime, I've seen enough manga, to know old people in this type of literature are pretty freaking powerful, or can do some devastating shit. So seeing Wilhelm training Subaru and stuff like that, I always thought he was a really cool support character, and I never really would have thought he would have became what he was in this episode. Just someone that really came to the front of the spotlight, kicking ass and just destroying the White Well like it was nothing. It was just quite the scene, and I really enjoyed the episode, and to see how he got a lot of the focus. And this man, straight up savage. Like, this man is just ice skating on top of the White Well, just cutting it up, like filleting it and all that, just cutting it up like sushi while he's on top of the well. And this man has like 6 swords and all that, just cutting it up, and he's going all around this well. And eventually, as he falls off the well after cutting its eye, someone throws him back up, and he cuts out the eye of the well, and it plops out, and he just stabbed my boy. This man just straight up went savage mode. Like, he straight up ripped this well's eye out, and then poked it, looked at it, and my god, this man, Wilhelm, like, I gotta give him points. I gotta give him points. Like, what he did in this episode against that White Well, of how he ripped out its freaking eye, badass. It was absolutely badass. Like, my god, we need more of this character. I really hope, honestly, I really hope he is not dead, but the thing is, there are so many death flags on him throughout this episode that I don't know. I don't know if he is alive. I mean, this is ReZero. I mean, we know characters can come back if Subaru dies, but with the way the events have been going on in the recent episodes, for instance, episode 19, this episode, and then episode 18, there's some of the things that, honestly, I don't want to be taken back. For instance, I don't want Subaru to die and to reset everything, because if he was to reset everything, that would mean that the conversation he had with Rim would be completely gone. It would be over to that conversation, and I would be upset, honestly. I think majority of us would be kind of upset, and our jimmies would be rustled if we found out that Subaru died, and that entire conversation he got with Rim about how he finally opened up and learned from what he was doing, and how Rim was telling him, like, you know, you don't need to lie to me and all that. All this great emotions we have between these two characters. I'd be very sad if we lost all that, and then, you know, Subaru, he reset back just to save Wilhelm. I would be kind of sad about that. So, in both ways, I'm sad if Wilhelm is really dead. If he's really dead, it's tragic, because he's such a good character. I loved his story, what we got to see so far from it, his connection to the Master Swordsman, the previous one, which was his wife. I mean, there's just so many things about his character I really liked, and if he's dead, it's sad. It really is. I mean, I feel like it's a waste of potential, but at the same time, I guess we do need permadeaths in ReZero 2 to make a point. I mean, not everything should be reset. Some things need to actually stay permanent. So, I mean, I don't want Subaru to reset. I honestly don't. I don't want him to reset to save this man, but at the same time, I'm sad because I do want him to still be around. I hope he's not really dead. Now, speaking of dead or whatnot, when it comes to the White Well, as we all know recently since the past couple episodes, the White Well somehow makes your entire existence erased. And with this episode, we finally get some information to how the White Well really works. And with that, apparently the White Well's fog makes you disappear. For instance, your existence is completely erased out of the world. So it's not the White Well necessarily eating you, it's the White Well's fog. So this is very strange. It really adds more to the power of the White Well, because for one, Wilhelm, he got eaten. Like, he was getting eaten by the White Well. So since he's not going to have his existence completely removed thanks to being eaten by the White Well, that means that there is a possibility this man could pull a guts and just start cutting this, you know, big freaking well on the inside out. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, look, Guts, you know, he did that type of shit. Look what he did to the sea god. And then now you see this. I mean, what if Wilhelm, he got inside of it, now he's just cutting its belly up and stuff, and he comes out of the front of its other eye, like, or comes out the other eye socket. You just see him, like, slash through it, and he pops out. That'd be badass. Come on, come on. How many of you, I mean, you just say, like, yo, this man just got through the well and cut out his other eyeball and he popped through it. Like, how badass would that be? Come on. You know that'd be badass. So, hopefully Wilhelm, somehow, since we know he might not have his existence completely erased, he might still be inside of it, and he might be able to get out and then still be alive, because that doesn't mean necessarily he is dead right now, since we now know that apparently it's the fog that makes people's existence disappear. So with it just being the fog, I gotta say though, real quick, it wasn't necessarily completely 100% confirmed that it was the fog, though I do want to talk about that, because Subaru, he speculated that it was the fog doing it, but it's not said if it really is, because we didn't really get to see an example. I mean, we know the fog popped up, people started forgetting about others and stuff, and it's a possibility it is the fog, but we never really got to see point blank with our eyes as the viewer people disappearing and then people forgetting them. So we don't know if it still has something to do with the fog. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's the fog and then being killed by the well or something else, but we don't really have actually 100% proof yet that it is actually the fog that erases everybody's existence. We can assume because of what Subaru said, but he doesn't 100% know. He doesn't 100% know that it's the fog. Maybe being eaten can still cause it. So getting off of that topic, let's talk about another thing. There's a couple other points in this episode that really got me interested, and that would be Satala. So, I can't be the only one that saw it. I'm willing to bet all of us saw it. Like, you would have to be kind of blind to that scene if you didn't see it. Subaru, he was, trying to get the well to follow after him. And he was like, I can return by... And then he was going to continue his sentence, and then you know what happens when he does that. The entirety of time kind of like stops. He gets like this dark aura around him, and when you see like these hands try to reach for his heart. And if you look very closely behind Subaru in that scene, you see a woman. You see a woman right behind him. Seriously, you go back to the scene if you didn't see it. You will see a woman right behind Subaru when he says that. Right behind his shoulder, like his right shoulder here. And you see purple lips. And I'm like, looking at this person, okay, it's female, obviously. You can tell by the design of the character, it's a female character. And thinking about everything that's been going on with Subaru, thinking about his connection to the supposed Witch of Envy, you can only assume that that is Satala. That's what we can assume that is. So, this is our first time we've ever gotten to see Satala in the anime. Like, this is the first time we got to see some form of glimpse of her. And right off the bat, she says something in the background. There's actually no audio or dialogue. You can't really see what she is saying. I guess if you're good at lip reading and stuff, you kind of assume what she is saying. But I'm just going to throw my own speculations to what most likely she is saying to Subaru behind him. I don't know if Subaru actually heard her or not, but you see her mouth move, and my only thing I could assume is that maybe she is saying, I love you, or something like that, Daisuke, or something like that. I could see where Satala might be saying some words like that to Subaru behind him, and it's really cool, since, as we see, every time Subaru tries to use his hands, every time, the curse gets stronger sent, we notice more of these distinct features behind Subaru that constantly pops up, like, how he could, see the unseen hands now from Beetlejuice, how Subaru's scent grows stronger every time he resets, to how the hands, the feminine hands that came out when he tried to tell Amelia, it was actually just rubbing his heart very softly and all that. So when you think about it, every time he tries to do this, more features of the witch, Satala, pops up. And I wonder if it continues to go down this path. For instance, if Subaru continues to try to say something like that, will one day come to where Subaru might actually be able to hold a conversation with the female that is behind him, which might be Satala. I'm very curious if that really is what might happen. For instance, as time continues on, as his connection grows stronger with the Witch of Envy, and he continues to say stuff, or maybe if his loops get too long, he might be able to talk to her, she might be able to say something, or something else might happen entirely. I'm very curious exactly what that overall means, because, I mean, clearly, from what we have seen, it is growing stronger. Subaru's scent grows stronger, as we know, reset and all that, and we also know that every time this happens, we see more distinct features pop up. So, who knows? It is a possibility. So, getting off of that, let's talk about other scenes. For instance, Wilhelm and his past connection with the Master Swordsman. So, I think by now everybody knows, and it was made very clear to me in my comments in the last week's video I made of ReZero. I didn't discover this until I would have probably watched this episode, but many Chibits pointed out to me, because I kind of completely, it went over my head. It completely went over my head last week, because I was thinking about other scenes, especially like the ringtone and stuff. I wasn't thinking about the actual name of Wilhelm. So, Wilhelm's name and all that, it was revealed to have a connection to Reinhardt. And if you were unaware of this, Reinhardt's last name is exactly like the previous Master Swordsman, and also Wilhelm's name as well. So there's an instant connection between Reinhardt and Wilhelm right there, and then also the Master Swordsman. And judging by how strong Reinhardt is, we can now conclude that Reinhardt is some form of descendant from the previous Master Swordsman. Maybe the son, maybe a grandchild, we have no idea. We don't really get confirmation of exactly what type of connection Reinhardt has to the previous Master Swordsman, but we do know that they look very similar in some ways, some of their distinct features, so you can conclude that Reinhardt now, who is his mother, which was the previous master that died to the White Well. So I like this information we got, the subtle information we got, and I'm very thankful for many Chibits that pointed out last week. I'm very thankful for that, so thank you very much. Speaking of something else many of you Chibits pointed out, and also I wouldn't have noticed either, I completely would not have noticed, and some of you Chibits really, I gotta commend you how much you really look into a lot of scenes of ReZero. You go way beyond what I do, and I just gotta say, you guys are way more intelligent than I am. So, I don't actually have the picture, but I saw it last week. I would have to go through my Twitter feed and all that, go really down hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. But the picture, though, showed the tree from last week, and I'm just gonna mention the conversation. So, you remember when Rim and Subaru, they're having the conversation next to the tree, and then you had to where Subaru's like, we should carve our name into the tree? He was talking about that. Well, if you look closely into the tree, which I saw the picture someone gave me, you see actually Japanese writing in the tree, engraved into the tree. And instantly you're like, whoa, what? Japanese writing? That's very weird, because that would kind of say that someone from Subaru's world was there to be able to use that type of writing. So there was a lot of interesting things about that. It was a little Easter egg of last week's episode that I didn't notice, and I would not have noticed if you guys didn't send me a picture. So I'm very thankful for all those that discovered that, and it leaves up to a lot of speculation of what that really means for the future of the series. Who is this person that really wrote on the tree, and, you know, what type of connection does this person have with Subaru, and what type of connection will this person have in the future of the series? So a lot of questions, but overall the episode of ReZero, I feel, was fantastic. I enjoyed the episode. I know this video is probably not going to be as long as last week's. Oh, hell no, it's probably not. Because, I mean, overall, the main point of this episode was fighting, and as always when it comes to action-packed episodes, they don't have a lot of, you know, I guess very in-depth themes like the previous episodes of ReZero have. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. By no means am I saying that's a bad thing, because these type of episodes are also a good way to display other aspects of ReZero that we haven't seen much, and seeing action scenes like this, I'm a big fan of it as well. Speaking of action and all that, let's talk about the art and animation. I gotta commend White Fox for one thing about this episode. If there's one thing I could commend them about their art or animation, is that the very good lack of CGI on the White Well, or the wells in general. I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy about that, White Fox. I'm very happy you didn't try to cop out and do the berserk treatment to this episode. You did a very good job. I compliment you, White Fox. I compliment your entire production team for actually sticking to hand-drawing a lot of these scenes throughout this entire episode. You did a very, very good job. You gotta leave it to White Fox to know how to make a very good episode and a very good anime series. They're definitely doing a very good job with ReZero. Oh yeah, one last thing I want to say before I end this video. Apparently the White Well also can mess with people's minds, completely attack them where they start hurting themselves. So it's a very, I guess, devastating blow, and some people actually can resist this mind attack that the White Well can do. And we get to see how Subaru, he's actually unaffected by it completely. And it's very strange, actually, when you go back to that scene. It's something that I don't really know how to really view, because it's something completely different from what we have seen from other scenes of the series. Because, I mean, out of all the characters, you think Subaru would be a type of character that would be attacked mentally easily. Because, I mean, this man has constantly had mental breakdowns and shit. I guess maybe his, you know, his psyche, his entire mental castle has grown stronger after what all he's been through, and that's why he was able to resist the White Well. But whatever the case may be, all the other characters, even Crush and Rim, were experiencing some form of affliction from the White Well, the way it was attacking people's minds. And Subaru wasn't feeling anything at all. He didn't feel nothing at all at that scene. So either A, the White Well has no effect on Subaru, he can't use his abilities, or B, Subaru, he just has so much mental damage, he's so far broken he can't be hurt anymore, or he's just been through so much trauma that he can block that shit out. So one or the other is probably going on here. So it's a very good scene of this episode, and I feel like might have more meaning to the future of ReZero. Maybe not in this arc, maybe not this season of ReZero, maybe a season 2 if we ever get one, or a future novel, volume of the novel or whatever, but seeing Subaru being able to resist the mind attack, it definitely leaves up to a lot of speculation. So you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.